What's up? What's up? What's up? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, Paul, man, tell him what's up, man.
What up? What up? Hey, it's P Funk. If you didn't know, better ask somebody.
Hey.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hump day.
Hey.
That's crazy. I'm trying to get to the place where we said first Sky Highlander Radio. It's crazy. 1 2 1 2. Check.
Is this thing on?
Yeah, man. Give me a little test again, buddy.
Check 1 2. Is this thing on?
Yeah. Turn up a little bit. Turn up.
Yeah, I was gonna say it. Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, like butter. What's happening, y'all? It is November the 23rd, Wednesday, November 23rd, 2022. It's the first time I fact check my dates. I be putting the wrong date on stuff all the time.
Yeah, he be tired, boss.
All right, today a little energetic, a little energy.
Yeah.
They're already in the chat already, man. Pop says, yeah, it's Women's Wednesday. Pop's favorite day. Said good morning and mad love to the First Sky squad and fam. What's going on, Pops? Also, Brother Valentine says, morning, fam. Got a good morning from Wanda Lewis. Stacey Jean says, good morning, First Sky family and friends. Appreciate you.
Hey, top of the morning to the lot of yous.
Yeah, man. Appreciate everybody getting up early this morning with us on this hump day, Wednesday, November 23rd.
Hump
Shout
day.
out to the radio crew over there too, listening to us on the radio channel. 630 Club, how was the mix? All right. Looks like you guys are already sharing the show. Appreciate that. Share the show if you're on Facebook. Do us a favor, share the show. Get as many people in here talking as we can. And it's all about the conversation. So appreciate you. Shout out to everybody on YouTube as well if you're over there. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Welcome to a fresh edition of First Sky Omaha in the morning. All Beeee Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, everybody that's up on this early Wednesday morning. Got a Gail Jefferson. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you.
Hey.
I've seen that name. That's what's up. Appreciate you joining us for the discussion today. Got lots to talk about for sure. Of course, this is, like Pop says, this is Women's Wednesday, which means we're expecting Precious McKesson will be politicking with P. Also, Miss Kimara Snipes will be seeing what's good in the hood. Put some respect on both their names.
Yes.
Going down. Also, for Women's Wednesday, if you have not checked it out yet, then definitely go check out our sister's program over here, Political Evolution. Whitney Richardson is throwing down on the show. So definitely check that out where you get your podcasts. Shout out to Weberized Studios for being the facilitator behind that one. So that's what's up, man. All in the fam. It's going down. Lots to discuss all the time, and especially when you're action-based group, which is what we're trying to do. Get some understanding and go take some action on some things. So that's what's up.
Man, they say understanding is a rock upon which man builds himself. So, let's get some understanding and let's build. Let's move. Let's get active.
It's a good rock.
Oh yeah.
Runs Reviews, good morning to you. Says, have you ever went over to your friend's house to eat and the food just ain't no good? I mean, the macaroni soggy, the peas all mush, and the chicken tastes like wood. He's going back with that one. First rap ever put on a record, Rapper's Delight.
Man.
Yeah, man.
First stolen bars.
Stolen bars.
Yeah, man. Give Casanova Flyers his flowers, dog. Come on.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you know that story. That's
Come on, man.
Christy Norgis, that's a good morning. Kimara Snipes says, good morning, y'all. Good morning. How y'all doing?
Yeah, man. I'm an old soul, dog. Shout out to Rome's Review. You know what I'm saying? Keeping us on our P's and Q's.
Yeah,
I
man.
was raised on Gap Band and the Isleys. Got a deuce and a quarter in the garage.
Man.
Come on now.
Okay. No wonder you got car problems. That car old, bro.
Yeah. Need a new starter in the carburetor. You hear I say it was in the garage, not not on the road.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Thanks for joining us again. You're listening to a fresh edition of First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All Beeee Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, all of you ghost listeners. It's going down. We were just remembering, reflecting on pops. I went down a tape rabbit hole again today. I found some old tapes, and last night that is, and I found a tape from the first radio show me and my family put together back in the 90s.
What was it called?
KHPY 1530 was on an AM radio station, and we were calling that mug First Sky Highlander Radio. So
Hey.
First Sky been decades in the making as far as we're concerned around here. First Sky, it's funny to hear all of our young voices, all our high pitched voices. Young First Sky, we were so young, sound like babies, and we wasn't talking about nothing.
Man.
We was clowning the whole. It was just a sway in the morning type of clown show. You know what I'm saying? We were playing all our own music. We were interviewing all our own rappers in our crews. You know, like it was just a party
Yeah.
on the airwaves. But
Around what years was this?
like I said, the tape I pulled out, we was talking about Y2K was getting ready to happen the next day, so we were about to all die.
Man.
So that was 99. I think we started that show like in 98, somewhere around 98, 97, 98. 97 was the first
Okay.
quickening too, so that was like right around people in the sevens coming together.
Man.
So yeah, so it was a lot of energy around that time. Not to mention, man, I mean, and let me tell you, I wish you would have been there. We could have expanded into what was going on locally, which we fully left out of those shows, but also in the music business because that when you look back on '99, that was like some of the golden years for all the stuff we was listening to, Slum Village and
Man.
the Soul Quarians and the Roots, that things fall apart, Erica Baduism, you know what I'm saying? Like we
Right
should have
before the
been
mixtape era.
exactly, we should have been covering all that, but it was heavily influenced. It was everything we were doing were heavily influenced by that time and those things. So
Yeah.
very interesting stuff, and I just made me be like, "Man, I can't wait to get back to doing some of that kinda like, music reviews, music highlights." You know, some of the lighter fare. We're older now, and we definitely see that, there's some things that are a little bit more important than what party we gonna go to that weekend. So, I'm glad that we have a nice, base of understanding about what's going on with civics and local news and how your ability to go to a party this weekend can be hindered by your freedoms being hindered by local politics.
Man.
So I hope to bring back a little balance of some lighter fare and some things like that with the seriousness of us making trying to create some movement with this information. So
Oh, yeah. But hey, we also party too. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind.
that's what's up. Kimara Snipes says that's amazing, Paul. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a trip. It was a trip. To hear that again, like so what started this. There was this. We had a store. There was a store called First Sky. It all came from this store that we had. It was like a store called First Sky. So this has been in the plans for years and years, and then of course, like I said, we got on the air, called it First Sky Highlander Radio. We were all from Highland, so it was a trip. Pops in the chat says my mom, mom, dad, and siblings loved our deuce and a quarter. We rolled from Cali to Omaha in it, and everybody thought we were rich.
Man. Man, this
Deuce
thing
and
came with a pillow, the original pillow and everything. You know the couch pillow in the back. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's like me with my 60. I bought a 68 Cadillac Coupe from the original owner, had it in the garage the whole time, had the original 8-track player in it, bro. And
Man.
yeah, I
It-
need to get it shipped out here from Cali for real.
Wifey bought
Um,
hers. It's actually wifey. She bought hers from Texas. Got it shipped. I think it was only one owner.
it's a legendary car now, bro. Deuce and a quarter. Public Enemy made it famous. There's a couple rappers early rappers that was always talking about that car. Super famous.
Man.
Josh Taking the house. What's up? He says, hey, happy hump day. What's going on? Ron's Reviews is giving us a YouTube report. 149 subscribers, raised to 150.
Okay.
Appreciate that, man. That's what's up.
Just tell a friend, y'all. All we need is one friend to be told.
There you
And we
go.
there.
Kimara says he was raised on a lot of blues. I can see that. I see you, the
Yeah.
blues woman. That's what's up. Chrissy Norris said 2 Live Crew. Rome's review says Raptured by Blondie was the first.
Eh.
Uh, no, we ain't calling that the first. But
Eh.
number 2, I think Rapper's Delight did come up before Rapture, I believe.
From our research, Blondie did it. Like Blondie went to a party, called some cats rapping, put it in a song, and then that opened the door for Rapper's Delight. As far as
Oh,
I,
that's right. You're right. You're right. That's it's coming back to me now. You're absolutely right.
but still,
Um, yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool with Blondie. Blondie was dope. She was a purveyor of black art all the time. Basquiat was in that video of her with this video they were talking about with Rapture.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So she was down. Blondie was down. Anyway, moving on from all of that, we can get down. Man, I'm trying to tell you this. We try to keep the show at 2 hours, but we can really go down some rabbit holes on some things for real.
Oh yeah, slippery slope.
Most deaf. Let's go ahead and jump into a little bit what we're going to talk about. First of all, before we get to that, how are you doing over there? Because I know you got a fuller house going on.
Yeah, feeling like Bob Saget, man. Yeah, got the fam in the crib. I think babies might still be asleep. Some of the cousins, but yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing. We don't really celebrate like holidays like that, like Christmas and Thanksgiving and things like that. Once you get down to the nitty gritty of what some of that stuff really is, but it's still a perfect opportunity to celebrate family, and that's really you can never stop doing that. So I'm definitely glad Mama got in last night. So her and the step pops chilling out. Family is here. Actually, today is Mama God's birthday. So
Oh,
yeah, man. Happy birthday, Mama God. I think she's upstairs right now, but yeah, man. Happy birthday to Mama God. Today is her birthday, so we're gonna chill out, maybe play some cards. Good old family kickback, man. Have some movie times and some crafts and things with the kids. Looking
okay.
forward to it.
She down. I know what she gonna do on her birthday. She down there looking for them AAA. She gonna be chilling chilling with the remote control today.
Oh yeah. Got her hooked up with the TV and everything, chilling out. She get to see the grandbaby. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, man. That's what's going on in my world, man. Gonna go, be going to the store. Got some greens to clean later on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, did you see that? Did I send you that video of that cat that is going ham on the meaning of Thanksgiving and all that? I don't know if you
Yeah,
saw that.
I didn't get to watch it, but it's like a song or something.
Yeah, it's a music video,
Uh,
pretty graphic craziness.
Yellow pain.
Yeah, he's an Atlanta cat too, and and as I was the very next video that came up after I liked his page was him on the Oprah show. He on a live streaming with Oprah on the O channel, and she was praising him for his stance on Thanksgiving and all this. I was like, whoa,
Man.
yeah, it was huge. But this video was him just like, what do we look like celebrating Thanksgiving? And I was like hoping that you got to see it because it was pretty out there. But it got me thinking about stuff that we talk about every year around this time. So he's like basically his rap is like, "What are we doing celebrating the massacre of native people? Like, what? How is that a holiday? What if I put some
Well,
blood on the turkey? Yeah,
well.
right, right. So anyway, but there was a part of there where there was like a black family that was like, but we don't really celebrate. It's just about giving the glory to God and coming all together. It's like that's really the story of the black community a lot, bro. Like it's always kind of been that way.
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving, because back in the day, you used to be able to get a free turkey, and everybody had the day off, and everybody wanted to be able to get together as a family and cook. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's never really been about the actual holiday, but is that enough? Is that enough to just say, "Nah, we don't celebrate it, but we're gonna do all the things to you know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna do all the
Yeah.
things."
From the outside looking in, looks like you celebrating.
How's our indigenous brothers and sisters feel about that? You know what I mean?
Hmm. It's a good point. Hey, if y'all listening, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. This
Most
is
definitely.
this is your platform just as much as anybody else's.
But we're not here to talk about Thanksgiving today. We got some other things in the news. What's going on around town?
Yeah. Well, real quick, how you doing?
I'm hanging in there. It's cool. Like I said, got a little energy today. Seeing the light at the end of the tunnel for some work this week. So
Yeah,
pretty excited about that.
that's always a good sign. That's one of the things. Work don't stop. So big shout out to everybody punching the clock today and tuning in with us. Feel free to drop into the chat. Let us know how you feeling, man. We'll definitely love to hear from you. Also, if you have some haps coming up, a big shout out to Rome's Review opening his home for those who, are lacking family and would like to celebrate. So yeah. Hit up Brother Rome's review if you're interested in that. But in the meantime, in between time, yes, we do have a lot to talk about today. Also expecting a couple guests, Sister Kimara Snipes and Precious McKesson, put some respect on their names. But until they hop on with us, we will be diving into some money, man, continuing to follow the bag, looking at where are the jobs at and what's the future of the Omaha industries. What was the future of the Omaha job landscape? And according to one voice, here in Midland's Voices, again, the opinion site for Omaha World Herald, one woman is saying that the future of jobs needs strengthening in Omaha's tech ecosystem, which we talked about. Shout out to organizations like I believe IB Black Girl, who's helping with coding for young Black girls and things like that. So yeah, shout out, to those types of organizations, those in the STEM. So you were definitely going to talk about that, especially, our continued conversation about the importance of internet and things like that in the community. Also gonna finally get to dive into some of the things happening with Twitter. Speaking of tech and jobs, of course, Elon Musk firing the entire staff at Twitter in Mexico and also Ghana. So we're going to dive into some of those moves and, what is the future of tech and Twitter and all of that. So definitely would love to hear from the chat on that situation. Also going to dive into a new position. This is an ongoing conversation that we have, of course, in the Omaha schools, the use and the need for resource officers and what is the safety of our children in schools. So we'll definitely talk about that coming up. And unfortunately, there was another mass shooting. So we do have to get into some of those unfortunate things and also some updates on some shootings that happened here locally. So we're going to talk about that and more. Of course, if there's anything on your hearts and minds that we're not discussing, feel free to drop that into the chat as well. And we'll try to dive into it as much as we can. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing on the road. First Guy Omaha in the morning. Paul Beeee Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you. Let's go.
Let's do it. What up, aloha? Good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul Beeee Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, all of you ghost listeners, do us a favor if you're on Facebook, share the show on your page so we can get as many people in discussing things as possible. Also, if you're on YouTube, thank you very much for subscribing. Like Rome's review said, up to 149 subscribers over there. So that's what's up, man. It's all about the organic rise in listenership. We really appreciate that. Appreciate you as well. It is Wednesday. What is the date? November 23rd.
Yes, sir.
So a couple days away from Turkey Day, and a few days away from it getting really, really cold out here in Omaha too. By the end of the week, it's supposed to be record below freezing, kind of crazy weather. So not looking forward to that, but it's been drawn out as long as it can. We had some few nice days here recently, so can't complain. But yeah, it is about to get cold, so get ready for that. Make sure you check the heaters and check the ventilation and just everything. Go check on the old folks.
Man.
Make sure the family's all safe when it comes to the warmth in the house and all that good stuff. Got to check it out, man. Got to double check. Lots to talk about today, of course. Like Buddy was saying, we got to jump into some things that's been going on. It's another mass shooting that just happened again last night, day after a mass shooting in Colorado Springs. Lots of messed up stuff going on. Most deaf. We're always looking for answers on what to do there. Buddy, tell me stories about how hectic it is in Atlanta right now, which is an open carry state. Of course, we know that the Nebraska is always trying to be the Mississippi of the South. So yeah,
I got correction. It's
Okay.
actually not an open carry state. It's a concealed carry state. Like it is legal to conceal carry without a permit here.
So you could
So
just
it
be hiding
definitely
your gun.
you can hide your gun and not have a permit. So you
Wow.
never know who has what.
Crazy, crazy. Yeah. So anyway, we'll definitely be mentioning, mentioning that a little bit. We don't go too far into those things, but we do got to, kind of keep it on the table there because there's a lot to discuss on that one. There's a lot to decide on how our state is going to be when it comes to gun laws and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So keep it relevant. Jumping in the chat real quick. Pop says I used to tell my teachers that my folks didn't come over on the Pinto, Nina, or the Santa Maria. Mm, mm.
Ooh.
I can see young Pop saying that to the teachers too.
Mm.
Wanda Lewis is letting us know it's Tiffany Gamble that does the coding for girls. I didn't think it was IB Black Girl, but like you said, organizations that are in very doing the very important work of teaching young people how to code and all the STEM things. Really interested in the STEM stuff now, big time.
Yep.
Also, Kimara Snipes says I reached out to my commissioner about race as a health disparity. I'm happy to share what I learned. Can't wait to hear about that. Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So stay tuned. We will have Miss Kimara Snipes on today, finding out what's good in the hood and finding out what she learned about the health disparity, about race health disparity. Can't wait to hear about that. Stay tuned for that. Also, Precious McKesson will be politicking with P today. We expect her to come on today as well. So, yeah, lots coming up. In the meantime, between time, let's go ahead and jump into some of the stories. Buddy, what's on the agenda?
Man, we'll start off on somewhat of a positive note, looking at again the future. Space is still the place for us, so definitely looking at what future jobs can come to Omaha. What areas should we be pushing our youth to look into the future and secure a better future for just not themselves but for the community. And according to this Omaha World Herald opinion piece, the technology revolution is here, and STEM and tech is the future. Apparently, employers are reshaping their workforces to accommodate new company needs and goals, targeting more workers who can leverage computer science skills with strategy and innovation. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics actually reports that computer and mathematical jobs will increase at the second fastest rate of any other field over the next decade. In that same span, it estimates that data scientists, information security analysts, and web developers will be 3 of the top 11 fastest growing occupations, and software developers will produce the 3rd largest job increase of any occupation. So again, I've been ringing that bell as far as tech being the future and maybe seeing more tech jobs coming into the Omaha area, maybe a Google data center, Facebook data center, something like that, and then increasing and building on that in the community. And according to this article, this is an opportunity for us all to celebrate success stories and strengthen the tech sector in Omaha, to support initiatives that educate and inspire the next generation of tech workers, to engage with our most vulnerable community members and underrepresented populations, to guide them towards stable professions. And this is actually calling out the AIM Institute, who recently partnered with Noise. So shout out to the AIM Institute for giving them space. But at AIM Institute, it says we've spent 30 years building a tech education program that allows people of all ages to cultivate curiosity toward technology, build in-demand technical skills, and pursue a rewarding career. In 2021 alone, AIM's programming helped 4,447 individuals increase their tech skills and open a new professional pathway to high-skill, high-demand, high-paid jobs, which is definitely one of the changes that I've been seeing over the pandemic, as far as people going into the Google certificate programs and things like that, getting more skills, getting new jobs without even going to school. So again, that's definitely the future. And before we get any feedback, I do want to share a resource that I found. This is a list of STEM programs that are available for anyone interested in this, especially if you have youth out there. Again, these are definitely different STEM programs, opportunities in the area. I mean, throughout the whole state, Iowa, Ashland, Nebraska, some things virtual, some things Omaha. So yeah, we'll post this link in the chat, and if anyone has any youth interested, and then also shout out to again those in Sister Wanda Lewis, Tiffany Gamble. This is her organization that's also available in Omaha, Emerging Ladies Academy. She was actually doing some coding classes out of the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation. I don't know if she's still there, but she's still in the area. So again, check her out, emergingladiesacademy.org. Tap in.
Yes, sir. That's what's up. Miss Erica Felt gives us a good morning. Says my son was invited to be on the cybersecurity team for a national competition.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, that's real dope. This is something that I want. I'm glad that we started with this because I'm really interested in what's going on here. First of all, it took something personal for me to be more interested in it since I didn't go to school here.
Mhm.
But my nephew is real STEM, STEM, STEM based, STEAM actually.
Yeah.
He's also an artist. And what does STEM stand for again? As science, technology.
Science, engineering, mathematics, and now art with STEAM.
Yeah. So these subjects are huge here. Buddy tells me stories all the time about how North High is a STEM school and a lot of the stuff that happened when he went there. And a lot of people I get a lot of people hearing telling me about these stories about engineers that's come out of here and stuff like that too. So Omaha's real poised for that because it's especially the north side, east side in particular, real STEAM based programs going on here a lot, and we don't hear often a lot about people that come out of here as engineers and stuff like that. But there's a real opportunity with all these programs. Shakura Huggins is in the house. Good morning to you. I haven't seen you come on the
Hey,
show before. She said, "Good morning." David Pollock and Code Black are also doing work to build tech skills amongst the community. Opportunities for adult learners.
there
We
you
talk,
go.
we talk a lot about black business, and this is the only place that I've ever been around that I've seen more like tech based businesses this way. How to teach our community tech. There's three or four that we can name, like we just talked about, and then plus there's organizations like the AIM Institute and stuff like that that you just showed. So yeah, I appreciate that. Code Black, I did hear about that too. So so they're popping up. They're popping up around because our people are seeing the need to teach young folks these skills for jobs to come in. And once we have this kind of you know society here, like once we build this up, then we'll be primed for tech companies to come in and be like, we got a whole workforce coming out of East Omaha that can handle these tech jobs, and all these tech jobs are above living wage.
Mm.
They can be above living wage tech jobs. We always talk about, the problems that we have around here. A lot have to do with poverty, and the poverty level can be raised by us bringing in jobs that are not just low wage jobs, but jobs that can give you a living wage. You can choose where you want to live instead of having to depend on affordable housing, quote unquote. And so, and these are some of the ways, and we have a lot of resources here that we don't always talk about. I would rather North Omaha especially be known for that than other things that it's known for, because I always get surprised and shocked when I hear about programs that's happening. Kids out of North High that had you guys basically designed the walking bridge. You were talking
Yeah,
about engineering. There's
yeah.
so many things we talk about all the time, and it's just like, how come nobody knows this? You know what I'm saying? Like, and if nobody knows it, are people taking advantage of it? I'm not sure, but we can see that there's a need, and there's also black businesses like Code Black that are popping up to be able to teach some of these things. So it's just interesting stuff to me, all the way around. Um, and buddy, if you could take a minute to speak on a little bit too, man. Like I said, you grew up here, went to school here, and just briefly talk a second about some things that you were influenced by, and you had access to coming up.
Man, I mean, there's a lot. There's definitely a lot. I can go all the way back to elementary school. Shout out to Belvedere. Early on, they had the Benjamin Banneker program, which of course is named after historic inventor Benjamin Banneker. And we were learning about physics, we were learning about engineering, we were learning about building. Even before I went to North, I went to a engineering program there, where we were building bridges, building planes, working with balsa wood to build certain structures, to see where are pressure points, what supports weight, things like that, weight distribution, all that type of stuff. And then of course I went on to be a student at North, where Man, I seen some amazing things. Of course, I was there actually when I think the students, I think they were like 2 grades ahead of me, were the students that actually were a part of designing the pedestrian bridge that now connects Omaha and Council Bluffs that goes across the Missouri Bridge. That was designed in part by students.
Wow.
If I'm not mistaken, also the new science building that's going to be built on the riverside. I think students had a portion in that, if I'm not mistaken. But
Mm.
yeah, North has been producing a lot of brilliant minds, man. I remember when I was a student there, we were working like several classes. And shout out to Doc, shout out to all the teachers and the engineering leaders at North. We were part of building a oven for Kinjivatu, which is a village in Madagascar. You know, the African island on the southern coast of Africa. Um, you know, we were doing stuff to help the villages out there, and it's a lot of good work that's being done in the fields of engineering, technology, STEM, coming out of students in the Omaha area, not just North. Some people, Miss Erica Phelps, giving a shout out to Lothrop. She's saying at Lothrop, my oldest won the City Banneker Award for his science project. Even shout out to King Science, the magnet, King Science magnet, where I also went. They have, you know, I think the only I'm drawing a blank on the name, but it's a room with stars. You can go see science, you go see space and
Oh,
stars. I forget the name of the room. But I think it's the only school that has one in the Midwest. Like
observatory.
yes. Um,
I did not know we had an observatory here. That's crazy.
King Science, and I believe the public can pay for tickets to go see a show. Planetarium, that's what it's
What?
called. Thank you, Miss Erica Farrell.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a planetarium. Like you go, lights shut off. It's a machine in the middle of the room, project stars and planets, and you can learn about the solar systems and see it firsthand and be in it, in a projected sense. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of resources in the Omaha area, and I know a lot of people that came out of that, and went into um the Army Corps of Engineers that work for OPPD, that work for different areas throughout the country and making good money doing it. So shout out to those brothers and sisters that's making moves. But
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what's up, man. Brooke says we took a field trip there as a kid. I did not know that. Brooke, so if you're just joining us, we're talking about a area of which I would love East Omaha to be known for more because it's a very interesting subject to me. First of all, it takes me back to like programs and things that I was into back in the day, even TV shows and stuff like that, that talked about, science. I come from I'm in the hip hop generation. Even Jizza from the Wu-Tang Clan has a
Yeah.
show on world sciences that he had on Netflix for a minute, where he's going around the world trying to see what was new in tech. And it's a really interesting thing to find out about all these things that North Omaha has been offering our youth. Like I said, my nephew is a STEAM cat. You can already see he's got propensity to be able to be in that field, and I'd love to find programs and stuff like that so I can go find, I can go involve him in stuff and do stuff with him and all that to just keep that interest alive. Plus, going to some of these schools that he's in the district for, obviously have programs that would be interesting for him to get in, like you're telling me. So
Mhm.
it would be a very cool thing for us to be able to highlight that. And I kind of want to put that out there to the chat too, put that out to our listeners as well. This is something I would love for First Sky Omaha to really keep track of and highlight. We started doing this because we were tired of the way that our neighborhoods were being portrayed in mainstream media, and I was always kind of looking for some other angles to come at everybody with about what is actually going on in North and South Omaha. And this one sparks my interest in a big way. So I'd love to check it out.
I will speak. I do want to speak to that. Some of the companies and organizations that we tend to talk about a little bit in the community, that are trying to do things. Like I do remember early on, like one of my first corporate jobs was an intern at Union Pacific. I was one of their systems engineers, and that that experience kind of pushed me in this direction. Like I don't want to be in a cubicle. But I had the opportunity. I had the opportunity as a youth. I think I was only a sophomore in high school on that internship, but I was getting paid decent money, definitely for a sophomore in high school,
You said
and learning.
Union, you said Union Pacific.
Yep, Union Pacific, and then also, so I want to give a shout out to Union Pacific, and then also Peter Kiewit. Actually, Peter Kiewit, they have organizations for children. If you familiar with the kind of the new addition to the Children's Hospital, that's on Dodge, that's facing the Dodge Street. I was able to see that before they finished in, and I was walking through the building before they had any walls. It was just a bunch of steel beams. They didn't have any of the windows up or anything. So those opportunities are out there for young people in East Omaha, and you never know, that could lead to more development companies for youth. So those
Yeah.
opportunities are out there. I didn't want to shout that out.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. I love that. I love hearing that. Like we don't hear that enough, so I'm definitely gonna try to
No.
get down. Pops in the chat said about 7 years ago, I took classes in computer tech and became officially certified in computers, networking, and cybersecurity, all in less than 1 year. And I still get contacted daily by companies begging me to come and work for them. Young people get into computer sciences.
Yes.
That's what's up.
Yes.
Mr. Eric says King has a planetarium. My oldest went there after Northrop, and then went to North. My kids are STEM kids. Yeah,
Hey,
that's
I
what
was following my footsteps.
I'm saying, man. New companies that come up and do things, new companies that are building new technologies. I mean, Omaha is really prime for all that kind of thing, and especially North Omaha. I like to put a little action clause out here. I like to say, let's try to identify maybe 100 kids that have propensity for STEM or STEAM that can that we can try to build some stuff out. We're talking about trying to build out like a first Sky Omaha scholarship next year. You know
Man,
what I'm saying? Like, we're trying to build out some things that we can call to action where we can find, maybe 100 18-year-olds, 100 young folks that could be a whole workforce for any groups coming in, any technology groups coming in that want to bring industry into North Omaha. I'm sure that there are organizations already out there doing that, and we're down to help them organizations instead of start a new one. So if they exist, then maybe we can help. But I kind of like this idea of like helping do a little call to action to that, especially all these kids that are coming up in North Omaha that are STEM kids, like Miss Erica Felt saying. You know, um, let's see what's up, because then you got some leverage. Then you can call out and say, hey, tech company, come out here. There's a whole workforce waiting for you here.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
and then there you go. How much would their families be taken care of if there was a breadwinner in the family that was in tech and growing in that field?
Man, and I'm now that you're mentioning that, I'm thinking like as far as college programs, like does Metro offer any coding or tech programs or opportunities in the Omaha area? I'll say that, or do you got to drive way out to Elkhorn to get some of that?
No,
Um,
North has it. All those new
okay,
buildings all those new buildings that got built on the North Campus are a bunch of STEAM stuff, robotics, coding, all kinds of
there you
stuff.
go. There you go. There you
Yeah.
go. Also real quick, man, you kind of got to talking about my mind went to artistry and like hip hop and how hip hop started. We kind of talk about the early hip hop lyrics, man. You think about like the programs that were closed in public schools, the arts programs and music programs. And then what happened? You got all these people in the community, all these young people in the community building sound systems. Like that's computer science, that's engineering.
Yeah.
A lot of these early turntables and sound systems, you weren't supposed to be scratching on these turntables, but somehow these dudes figured out how to take it apart and build it and add a switcher to it. And like this is real science that these dudes were doing that
Yeah.
created hip hop. So it's in the community, it's within us, man. We just need the opportunities, need a little push, need
I'm
a
thinking
little
about
motivation.
electrical engineering in particular. These cats used to tap into street lights to get power for parties in parks and
All
stuff like
right.
that. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're right. It's in us. Like, we be knowing. I mean, there's a lot of inventions that's come out of the Black community that people don't know. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's very interesting stuff, man. We can go on and on about it, but I just really wanted to kind of bring out that this is an interest when I think about like what excites me about what's going on East Omaha, that kind of stuff comes out. Engineering is always something that I've thought was super important and loved, wanted to do, was fascinated by. Anything that had to do with science, engineering, especially computer science too. And then we got to throw in all the tech when it comes to media, which is what we're into now. The tech that comes to media, they hit us up when they want to have a proper live stream situation in their organization. They hit First Sky Omaha up for that as part of our services packages. There's something that we're trying to grow here at First Sky Omaha, is to be able to help people with their tech, because we've gone through this, and we understand what you need in order to have a a clean live stream and so on and so forth. So we built some things from what it is that we've gone through here to try to make this show happen even, and that's what's up. Wanda Lewis said three-way calling came out of the community. Wow.
Okay.
Many a person has gotten busted on a three-way call. Thanks to Omaha, Nebraska.
Gotcha.
Got 'em. So anyway, yeah, interesting stuff. We'll definitely be returning to this because this is not us. There's it's almost like I wanted something to really highlight East Omaha about something positive, and I didn't want to have to stretch for that. Well, let me tell you, there's so much going on positively in East Omaha when it comes to science and technology. It's kind of amazing. I get amazed every time I hear about another engineer that's in another part of the country somewhere making a bunch of money that started in North Omaha because of the program. So
Yeah.
very interesting subject. We'll continue on. And if you guys have any information on any of these things or any stories from your kids or anything, let us know. Let us know. This is a big a subject for us that we want to really kind of highlight. So let us know about it. I'd love to hear about it. Go to Friends of First Sky Omaha, drop it into the group chat there as well, or just hit us up personally. Anything. We would love to hear about your stories on when it comes to this science
Yeah.
and technology in North O. Really.
Yeah. And the way Twitter is going, there might be a void to fill.
Ooh, big
And
time.
some employees to hire too.
Yeah, they're dropping off like flies over there for real.
Man, if you haven't heard, again, Elon Musk fired the entire staff at Twitter Mexico, and nearly half the staff, or vast majority of the staff in Ghana. So yeah,
Well,
yeah,
we heard that he was laying off staff, and I heard he was laying off staff, and I was just like, wow, that's too bad. And then I heard like the whole all the Ghana chapter has been fired, disbanded, half of Mexico. So this ain't just affecting us here in the country that works for Twitter. This is other countries that have been dependent on those parts of the economy that are just getting just let go.
right.
Like they don't need that how much that's probably affected the community there for economically for like all of the Ghana Twitter workers to be fired. Some Sean McCarthy in the chat. Good morning. He said I think he asked almost the entire team in India as well. Wow.
Man, yeah, yeah. So there you go. I do real quick. I do want to mention also the positions that he's firing. I find that quite ironic. And these aren't just like lab workers. These are senior management positions that are being let go, such as global head of editorial. So somebody who edits what's being said. The director of ethics and transparency just got fired. The chief of information just got fired, and the head of the strategy just got fired. So yeah, all of the people who was going to tell him, hey, this isn't working, yeah, they just got fired.
Pop says Hewlett Packard announced they are also firing thousands.
Mm.
We
So
we
yeah,
talked about this.
go ahead.
We talked about this the other day. We talked about how also Meta, which is the parent company to Facebook and Instagram, also laid off tens of thousands of people.
TikTok.
And TikTok did as well. So there's something going on here in economics. You following the money. They say that these big tech companies that are doing this, they're the ones that are starting that trend. It's going to trickle down to a bunch of places if the inflation and everything stays where it's at. So that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. But my thought on that is, when that's when you start getting other small tech startups that over the next 10 years blow up into the major companies. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm not mistaken, the people who founded Twitter and Facebook, and they were all at PayPal. They were all at PayPal, and then the Elon Musks and all the people who started Twitter, they all decided to leave and start other things. So again, a lot of the minds that were behind Twitter, although they got fired, I don't think they're just going to disappear.
No, um, no, I guess not. There's always going to be something. But I think that the Twitter conversation is still worth a conversation because of what it means to news.
Oh yeah,
What there's also in the same news, Elon Musk is bragging that the Twitter subscription is up more than it's ever been. So he's bragging that even though all these things are happening, there's more people that are joining Twitter. We can't forget about the past reports that we had about the uptick in the use of the N word over there now.
man.
because there's no real moderation going on. He let back in Trump. He let back in a bunch of people, that were banned from Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
There's theories out there that he's trying to make Twitter crash and burn because it's been the source of a lot of different countries that were it's been the communication device of uprisings in other countries.
Mm.
Uh, and then there's this strategy that he's trying to make. So he's cut all these moderators and everybody out, so people can just say what they want to say and do what they want to do on it, and there'd be no moderation to that. So it'll just be a mass spot of disinformation, which is really hurt the news community in a big way because news is that's kind of what the news community uses for their headlines and things like that. So now you won't have anything in place there to see whether or not you have truth happening there. If
Mm-hmm.
there's any,
Mm-hmm.
it's all going to be fake news because it's just going to be whatever anybody wants to say. As whoever too, the whole
Yeah.
$8. We can't forget about the $8 certification. So if I want to be the Pope, I just need to pay $8 and hope the Pope didn't get it first, and then start talking as the Pope on Twitter. So like, it's still a big question. Should we stay on it?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I guess that's my point. Like, hey, this is the perfect opportunity for somebody else to come in and build something new. Because you see, that's a sinking ship.
Sinking ship. Let's take a quick break
I'm with
and
that.
come back to some of these things. Thank you for everybody who's commenting on these things. Let us continue to do so. If you have any thoughts about what's going on Twitter, how's it affecting you? We broadcast live over there as well. We constantly think every day if we ought to be staying on it. A lot to really kind of understand and think about when it comes to this thing. So let's definitely check it out. In the chat, real quick, Sean McCarthy says I was interviewing for a position at Amazon for the Alexa division, and I know Amazon is laying off thousands. So I guess I'm thankful I didn't get that job at Amazon this year. Yeah, you
There you
might
go.
be out. Marianne Williams, it says the black women mathematicians working at NASA and Hidden Figures were huge trailblazers too.
Yep.
Definitely, most definitely. Shout out to them. That movie did a lot to really show people what was really going on behind it. And so shout out to them in that movie as well. Linda Chicago says advertisers don't want to pay to advertise on crazy. They're bailing fast. Elon's waiting for Trump money. That's why he let 45 back. He's a rich fool in over his head. There will be a new one. I say we ought to bring MySpace back, but it's just
Hey, I'm here. I'm hearing more about MySpace. What about Black Planet? Is that still a thing?
well, I don't know. Ever since they sold it to somebody that ain't black, then
Oh
we
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
got off of.
yeah.
Uh,
See, somebody from the community make a new one. That's all I'm saying.
hey, there is we did report on an African American man who has put his own kind of social media platform
Hmm,
together. We need to look back into that story, look back into how that's going, what he's doing, and all that good stuff. So,
for
yeah,
sure.
interesting. Let's take a quick break. Pop said he's Twitter. I'm out as of today. He's gone. So there you go.
Deuces
We'll be right back. First Guy Omaha Radio. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
in the morning.
All Beeee Buddi3 Da Gawd. All of you, stay tuned. Be right back. What up? What up? Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to First Guy Omaha Radio. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning. Hey, hey.
Oh, Beeee Buddi3 Da Gawd, what's going on? Everybody loves that track right there. Tamika Johnson, my favorite beat. Erica Felt said, "That's my joint." Now I'm up. Woke up. Erica
Hey,
Felt. That's what's going on. That's an old school season one beat right there from the legendary Augie Kid, bro.
man.
So shout out to the fam on that one.
Shout
That's
out to
what's up.
Aki Kid too, man. He been making moves, DJing and making his rounds, man. And I love to see it, man. Keep working. I think he just dropped a project too.
Yeah, I think he's got.
Yeah,
I don't think it's dropped yet. He's about to drop it, but that's yeah. We'll have to have him on to talk about what he's got going on because he's a celebrity nowadays, man. Got to get an appointment with old Augie Kid. And hey,
man.
man, let me call your publicist and make sure that I can get in with a meeting with you this afternoon.
Gotta lock in. Gotta lock in. Hey, real quick before we move on from this STEM situation, I did want to share actually a hap today that I'm glad I remembered because it is going on today. This is something that's huge in the area of tech, and this is a local cat, my man Ishmael Samuel, who is from the Omaha area. This is an event going on today. It's a fireside chat with Ishmael Samuel. He is the co-founder of Paragon, and if you don't know about Paragon, here's an article about them in Forbes making moves.
Dang.
Yeah, man. This is Omaha. Again, this is Omaha.
That's Brandon Fool. No, I was playing.
But my man Ishmael is from Omaha. He moved around for quite a bit. Actually, he was like a yogi for some time, like just moving around. And eventually created Paragon, which is a company that sells software to developers to better integrate their products with other apps, and raised about $2.5 million for his project.
That's what I'm talking about. Wow.
Yeah, man. And again, this is in Omaha. There is an event today from 6 to 8, 1901 Howard Street, Modus Co-working, the fireside chat with Ishmael. So yeah, again, if you're interested in tech, check this out.
There's a lot, man. See, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot going on that we are not giving enough attention to. That's about to change. I'm with this. I'm with this whole idea. That's about to
Man.
change.
Yeah, so shout out to my man Ish, man.
Brooke Allen says, I remember the CEO of Zappos had us all get Twitter accounts in 2007 when I worked there. She says, it's interesting to see its evolution and fall.
Yeah.
That always, go ahead.
I told you I was like one of the first people on Twitter.
Yeah, yeah. Like literally like one of the first 50 or something, right?
Yeah, literally.
So that was always interesting to me when she said that because it made me think that dude that owns Zappos had some kind of interest in Twitter, and I always wondered about that. He passed away, by the way, like at a very young age.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, but I always wondered what he was into because the success of Zappos was pretty quick. But when I think of a company like Zappos, I think about like somebody coming out of North Omaha opening up a company like that. That's the kind of stuff that yeah, she said yes, I believe he did. He probably had a stake in Twitter. So so he was into some things like that, but it reminds me of the kind of companies and the kind of investment that people in Omaha that are coming up in these STEM programs can understand. They can understand how to start these kinds of companies and how to invest in that kind of tech. In opposition to what like we are in a state that has Warren Buffett, who's one of the richest people on the planet, and he's an investor, and he invests in the things that he understands, and he's never really understood tech, and he's publicly said that. He's publicly said, I invest in the things that I understand. I don't really know too much about tech. Well, I find it real ironic that like North Omaha is like North and South Omaha are like STEAM areas, which is kind of like okay, there might be some advisors that go to North High right now that can tell Warren Buffett about some tech stuff to invest. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
there's an understanding that's coming out of our side of town that I think is worth talking about in a real way. So so anyway, yeah, just thinking about it that way, that's the future. Like we started off this whole segment about the future of the jobs in the area is really like we got to shore up our tech base here, and
Mhm.
there's already programs in place to do that. So it's interesting.
Yeah. See, I'll explain how this works, y'all. Um, we vote people in office to clear paths with policy. We create the programs to give the kids the ideas, the information, and then we turn to people like Robert F. Smith to finance it.
Ooh.
You like what I did there? You
I
like?
like what you did there. I like what you
Yeah,
did
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. For those of you who don't know, big shout out to one of our chat chimers, brother Von Chapman, for bringing this article to our attention. Talking about brother Robert F. Smith, who is a billionaire's billionaire. For those who might not be too familiar, and like saying, "Hey, that name sounds familiar." If you remember, back in 2019, brother Smith was the one who broke Morehouse's student. They broke a record at Morehouse for the largest donation to the students, paying off all the student debt for that class.
Yeah, I remember that video. Them kids were going nuts.
Man, that was my brother Robert F. Smith. I mean, that move was so legendary. Atlanta even did something. Yeah,
Of course.
Atlanta, yeah, it did a whole episode about that. But again, this is very interesting. This is an article out of the Griot. Brother Robert F. Smith, who is one of those science tech STEM guys who made billions and billions of dollars for companies like Apple, Microsoft. He went on to create actually the world's largest and one of the wealthiest private equity firms in the world, called Vista Equity Partners. And this article is really just talking about his mentality of giving back to the community. And I just wanted to add this to the whole conversation because we need gentlemen like this, brothers like this from the community, who want to give back to the community, to invest and support the ideas. Like, it's one thing to, again, put the kids in our community in these programs for them to get the experience, to get the ideas. But we need brothers like this to, again, support those ideas and support those kids to get them to the next level. He's created the Southern Communities Initiative, which is an initiative that's actually not necessarily calling on individual billionaires, but the corporations that they create and they eat from, to support the wealth gap. The Southern Communities Initiative is designed to accelerate racial equity funding, programming, and outcomes in 6 Southern communities that are home to more than half of African Americans. His 2% solutions asks companies to just contribute 2% of their income, just 2% of their income, to ending systemic inequalities, inequities, as he explained to the Griot awards audience. Again, he was a recipient of the Griot Awards for charity. He says the average American gives 2% of their wages to charity. Corporations should do the same. The Student Freedom Initiative aims to enable any student studying STEM at an HBCU and other minority-serving institutions to graduate without crushing student debt. And we're also working to dramatically strengthen these institutions themselves, make them centers of innovation, and give them the ability to access the technology platforms that the next generation of economic opportunity is going to be based on. So we continue to partner with organizations like Prostate Cancer Foundation, Mount Sinai, Susan G. Komen, the International Medical Corporation, and the City of Hope to reduce the medical disparities and the healthcare disparities that exist in our community, and ensuring that Black women and Black men have equal opportunity to live fruitful lives. So that's definitely huge. Definitely huge. And big shout out to this brother for the moves that he's making. And, want to give light. Again, we need more of that in the community to make this whole thing come full circle.
I love that, man. It makes me feel powerful about taking control. Taking control of tech in our community is going to be very important, and to have schools and programs that support that. To have the one of the only Black billionaires out here supporting that. It just feels powerful. It feels like you can really make some kind of economic change with that. And now it's really time to really kind of figure out how to get the community involved, like
Mm-hmm.
I want to say the community, but I want to say more so, make it cool for the young folks.
Mm-hmm.
Make it the trend for young folks to kind of get down and get into this, and maybe we can start some kind of programs where we can do some, have some micro loans happen for some small startups. You know what I'm saying? Or help fund some kids' ideas to get things built. There's all kinds of things that can happen, or just support in general. Like Twitter, MySpace, all that kind of stuff started with an idea, like we just talked about a few weeks back. A Black man who started his own social media and is growing. So I mean, these things can start from you sitting in your bedroom messing with some code. So
Man.
and we need to look at that thing as just as valid as if they started up an ice cream shop somewhere or something like that. Like let's put the validity on those kinds of ideas as well, and kind of dominate, man. dominate. You know what I'm saying? We can really dominate the tech industry in a lot of ways if we wanted to.
Didn't Microsoft and Apple start in garages?
All started in garages, man. You know, so and the reason why they were able to is because their parents had loot and they could sit in the garage and no worry about bills and just worry about creating and doing something. So we can provide that same kind of situation for kids if we put some ideas together. So just all very interesting things that I'm loving that we kind of are going in this direction today. It feels strong, man. It feels powerful. It really
Oh
does.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
yeah.
So anxious to get more to talk more about it. Let us know if you feel the same. And like I said, give us stories that you have about your kids or you or your programs, the things that you went through, people that you know that came out of North and went to engineer and became engineers, became computer scientists. Invented things. I love to hear some stories and keep up with people that came out of the East Side doing that stuff. So
Man.
interesting stuff. It's 8 o'clock right now. If you believe in the concept of time, and
Eesh.
we have a special guest sitting in the wings waiting. So we'll go on and take a quick break and come back and bring on our special guest. So stay tuned. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Once again,
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddy to God, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, everybody out there that's hanging with us. We appreciate it. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Kimara Snipes up next. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
All B, Buddy to God, all of you chat chimers, all of you ghost listeners. Wanda Lewis says a friend of mine went to UNO debt free. They have programs that will allow you to teach after college and pay the debt back that way. She has her doctor. Oh, wow, in teaching at UNO. Okay, wow. I didn't know
Okay.
you can go that far with it. That's what's up. Yeah, these are good things to know, man. There's some resources here if we can just make it cool for people to go get down into it. But speaking of people making things cool, we got a special guest coming on in, ladies and gentlemen. It's Kimara Snipes. Put some respect on her name. Good morning.
Hey.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, good. How are you this morning?
I'm pretty good. It's technically my day off from work, but I got some stuff to work on for my LLC. Actually, trying to put some contracts together.
Okay.
You got an LLC too on top of your
I do. I started one actually in 2020, and then I did something called running for mayor. So I kind of put that to the side, But the more and more you get involved, and the more you do, you also gain skills.
Mhm.
I've been learning a lot about myself the past couple of years, and part of that, we had this discussion before, even about purpose, even figuring out what that looks like on paper. And I got to shout out Del Gines because I have been trying to figure out what it looked like on paper for a really long time. And people are always like, Kimmer, how come you don't start your own business? Like, how come don't nobody sit down with me and just tell me how to put this down on paper? And so I got to shout him out because he really sat down with me and he helped me take what I've been doing every day for years for free, and putting that down on paper. And people are constantly like, you got to stop doing stuff for free. You got to stop doing stuff for free. And, so I just got to the point where I'm doing that. So.
Okay.
We got to have Brother Gines on, man. I don't know him personally, but I see him around Facebook. He's always, and I hear his name all the time. He's always helping some situations out. He's kind of my Facebook hero a little bit.
y'all had a conversation Monday, I think it was, and Dale came up in my mind because we keep having these conversations, especially just when it comes to even political power, right? When it comes to elected officials and getting people in office. You talked about this morning, Buddy, right? You have to have that wealth too, right? These I consulted on a campaign, paid consultant, by the way. And this person who won, Sheriff Aaron Hansen, he got $150,000 in the last 3 months. That's wealth that somebody had built. You know what I'm saying? So we have to have that for ourselves too. It's just a real conversation that we have to have. When I ran for mayor, I had all this great stuff going. Ben Nelson endorsed me and Cara Eastman. And so what? I didn't have no money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what it comes down to. So we have to have these conversations about building wealth, but also for ourselves individually, which is also where this LLC comes from. I want to be comfortable. I don't want to be riding the bus all the time. You know what I'm saying? Somebody asked me, you ride the bus because you want? I said, nobody in Omaha, Nebraska ride the bus because they want to. Are you crazy? Like what? But anyway, yeah.
I like that you do that. This season is about follow the money, and part of the way that we follow the money is not just keeping track of what's being spent. I mean, we happen to be in the season that's happening because there's always millions of dollars coming in right now. But we also intended for this to be talking about follow your own money. Mind with it, like how Robert Kiyosaki says, mind your own business. Everybody ought to have one. Everybody ought to be pushing and thriving on theirs, so that if they get into situations where they need to get out for just integrity purposes, if you're in a job and you got to leave because you don't agree with what's happening, you got something to fall back on. You got your own business that you're pushing and pushing on and growing, and there's no reason to not. So kudos for that. Shout out to you for minding your own business. That's what
I got one for you. I got one for you. Rather than minding your own business in your mind.
Hey, I'm just saying. My mother, she was great with her finances, but she didn't teach me diddly squat. Nothing. Never talked to me about money. Never had a conversation. My son just got his first real adult job, and his first paycheck, boom, we got a financial advisor. You know what I'm saying? We sit down having these conversations, and he told my son, he said, look, you can work at McDonald's for the rest of your life and retire a millionaire if you're starting now and just making the right decision. So I'm just trying to do for my son what unfortunately wasn't able to be done for me. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to get it right. And even me at 47, you know what I'm saying? It's not too late for me either. So I'm also having conversations about how I can take what I'm earning and do something for myself as well. So we got to have these conversations because we have to build wealth in our families. We have to get our children to understand the importance of keeping a house in the family and just all these different things. So absolutely. And I appreciate y'all for talking about it because it does keep us mindful. It does keep us mindful. So continue to do that.
I just want to mention that we do have people. I've learned a lot from people in our chat community. Friends of First Sky Omaha in the chat chimers have people that are really good with money. Have people that have done some financial advising. Even millionaires in the group. So we have people in the group that can teach us and say and show things and contribute to some of those things. All we gotta do is ask the right questions.
Well, I'm asking. Holla at me. I want to know.
Holla. Even I'm looking at my man Ron's reviews, man. Even Mayor Sanchez, man. He gives such great ideas, and he kind of reveals some of the things that he does and stuff like that all the time too. He works his butt off, of course, but he also knows how to arrange things and manage his money and do a lot of things. So even just on a level of you're personally managing your own finances, sometimes we need to talk about that more.
Yeah.
Some of the things. But here he goes right now. He said, my financial tip for myself next year, I'm buying store brand products next year. I'm forecasting and saving about $1,000 to $1,500.
Man,
here's the catch.
Right. But I feel you. I've been doing that though.
But
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say what we haven't been doing though is forecasting what we're going to spend next year and then figuring out how to cut that back on paper like he's just doing right now. Yeah. So we buy store bought stuff out of necessity sometimes, but not strategically. And I'm talking about the strategic part now. Man. You know what I'm saying?
I will say real quick, another Omaha plug. Shout out to Trishana Helm, who created Mixon's Ice Cream. She's down here in Atlanta making moves. I believe she's millionaire status, but she's giving back. She's giving that back. She's actually about to be paying like people's bills. So if you follow Trishana on Instagram, tap in with her for Black Friday. She will be paying some people's bills. but she has a financial, like a business class that she teaches on Discord. My wife is actually a part of it. $20 you get in, and they have classes every day, and they're teaching it. Like right now, they just had a class about how people can sell business on Groupon, things like that. So I just wanted to plug that name as well. Trishana Helm, again, owner of Mixins here in Omaha and now here in Atlanta. Yeah, she's making moves. So there are resources in the community.
And I don't know her personally, but I've heard that her business model is that she would teach her employees how to do business. Matter of fact, that very young cat that went out and started his own ice cream spot used to work for her. So he obviously learned some business tips and stuff like that working with her too. We got to have more of these kinds of conversations in our community. That's just all there is to it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You got to teach people. You got to develop people. This doesn't make sense to keep people under your wing and you don't teach them nothing. That's beautiful. I love it.
Let me ask you a question. As head of neighborhood associations, is there any place for any kind of like financial discussions or help in the form of community association stuff? Like, is there room for that in what you guys talk about in the meetings and so on?
Absolutely. You know, part of our mission in neighborhoods is also to empower neighborhoods, right? And part of that is the conversation around finances. We invite, different community organizations and people to the South Omaha Neighborhood Alliance meetings to share information with our neighborhood association leaders that hopefully they're taking back to their communities. And people can also set up meetings with neighborhood associations, but it's all relevant. It's all tied together. It all fits. Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm looking at avenues that are not typical that we can have these conversations.
I think it's also a way to, because one of our goals with the South Omaha Neighborhood Alliance is to find a way to interact more with the youth community, right? And so through that conversation, we're talking about, our secretary is currently on the board for OPS. How can we utilize and leverage that to build relationships with all the different schools? But part of that, even when I think about it, is, if you're offering opportunities for people to come and learn about these things, that's interest. People are interested in things like that. And if you're doing it for free too, that's a way to also get people in and build your own capacity. So I think it's definitely a fit.
So I got a business idea that I'd like to throw out there real quick. I think that we need to figure out how we can support race health disparities. It's now a thing. I'm going to ask you about what you heard talking to the commissioner about it. And I can already say that whatever's going on, there's going to be a need for a solution. And
Right.
that solution could be Black owned. That solution could be coming from our community if we figure out where the problem lies and we put our minds to figuring out how to fix it. So, with that said, Buddy, first of all, would you explain to the people, this is the subject that you've been passionate about?
Yeah.
Race as a health disparity. Where did that come from? What is it, and how is that significant for us right now?
Well, I'm trying to go back to the actual story. Okay, June 17th, 2020 is the date that I have here before me. WOWT and just about all the platforms, reported it. But this goes back to again June 17th, 2020, at the height of the pandemic. And we saw kind of the disparities in how certain organizations, certain communities were being impacted and differently by the pandemic. And headline reads, Douglas County Board of Health declares racism a public health crisis. So again, this came across my radar just this way, us doing Minus O Radio, coming across this story and like, hey, what does that mean? Let's talk about this. And this is something that I have personally paid a close attention to over the next 2 years. Just saying, this is a step, but let's not make it performative. Let's not make it, symbolic. Let's actually make it have some teeth and do something about it. And for 2 years, we haven't heard much. We have not heard much. I think we did interview somebody early this year that's supposed to be just hired, by Douglas County to oversee this whole plan. But there's supposed to be a whole 22-point plan that they laid out. I think we talked to Commissioner Chris I forget his last name, but
Rogers.
Rogers, yes, thank you. Commissioner Chris Rogers, we talked to him early on about it. I mean, I'm thinking he's a brother. He's on the Douglas County Commission. He might have some say-so about this. Didn't really get much information. And still a lot of questions, a lot more questions and answers about what exactly this means. Of course, we know the health disparities. We talk about redlining. We talk about lead in the community. We talk about, the coal plant that's still open in Florence. We talk about food deserts and the lack of quality food and how that impacts us. We talked about the water and, how that impacts pediatric cancer rates. All of these things, race plays a part in that as well. So that needs to be addressed, and that is not being addressed. And that is the fact that you identified it, you acknowledged it, and you're still not doing anything to address it is a problem.
Well,
and that's
one of the things is to figure out what it means. So I'd like to hear from Kimara, if you can explain what you guys talked about. Maybe that'll give us a little more insight on what that means and what can be done about it.
Well, I'll tell you what Commissioner Rogers said to me, but I hear you loud and clear, buddy, and you're absolutely right. I emailed my commissioner about it because that is something I kind of thought about as well when it first happened. I was like, okay, well, it's been declared, but what does that mean? What does that look like in action? One of the conversations I think that we don't have enough when decisions are made and goals are made is the conversation around like accountability. And really applying accountability. But I reached out to him, and technically, he said it's a separate board that oversees the health director and the department who actually, I guess, are over the resolution. But he was saying that the county level, systems talk to each other, of course. But he's basically said that declaring racism as a health emergency disparity is actually a huge deal when it comes to health insurance and mental health coverage. With it being declared a public health emergency, this action basically triggers people being able to get therapy and counseling covered by health insurance as it relates to mental health issues tied to racism. Also, since that resolution, both the county health department and Douglas County, two separate organizations, have hired equity officers that are growing within their roles and creating action steps to basically tackle, is what they're saying. Now, I know Marissa Hattab is the Douglas County equity officer. I'm not sure who it is for the Douglas County Health Department. I know that they had a presentation yesterday on the Douglas County agenda where they went over some of their the county's like strategic pillars. I'm not sure what they are for the health department, which is where it's probably more laid out at. But Roger or Commissioner Garcia said that the Douglas County Health Department and Douglas County equity officers have coffees every other week, something informal they do with each other as coworkers. But he knows that I'm also a DEI practitioner, so he's invited me to attend some of those coffees with him because it's something he said he's been meaning to do to learn more about both of those roles, and he's happy to like include me in that, and I'm happy to take questions to them. But I think that they are worth having questions around, and I do have questions about it. What does it look like in action? But even when we talk about the mental health coverage piece of it, I think that's very, very important because especially as Black people within our workspaces, within community spaces, we have been traumatized, right? And mental health is something we don't talk about enough, but I know we've been talking about more and more in this show. So I told him I'm happy to participate in some of these meetings. I definitely have questions, and I'm happy to take questions to them to dive more into that. But I think it's a great conversation to bring up as we talk about organizing. It's something I wanted to bring up a little bit later because I saw where Mr. Michael Watts, I'm not sure who he is, but he tagged Precious and I to an article, and I was diving into that. But, it's definitely worth having a conversation and raising questions around and diving further into. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, I have in this article the wording on how Douglas County defines the designation. It says that there's a document. The declaration says more than 100 studies have linked racism to worse health outcomes. The document goes on to say that racism and segregation in Douglas County have exacerbated a health divide, resulting in disparities for premature deaths, death rates for cardiovascular disease and cerebrovascular disease, and average and median age of death. So again, racism and segregation in Douglas County have exacerbated premature death rates for cardiovascular and cerebrovascular diseases, average and median ages of death. So again, this is saying that racism and segregation is leading us to die quicker. What does that mean in action? Again, there's this whole they laid out what it means in action. There is a 22-point action plan. We got the plan, but where are you? My question has always been, where are you in this plan? Have you done anything to this plan? Like you just laid the plan out and that's it?
And so even as you say that piece of it, like the health piece of it, and most often the people who are most impacted are the ones who are typically left out of a lot of these processes where decisions are even made. And so to me, as they talk about like DEI and things like that, it also comes down to their like community engagement process. You know, what does that look like? Civic engagement strategies too. You know, even going deeper into it, like with the participatory budgeting, right? I think even that's worth having a conversation here. Open up a rabbit hole. You know, participatory budgeting, where people are involved in the conversation about the budget.
Right. Which budgets are we talking about? Huh? Which budgets are we talking about here?
I'm talking about the county.
County budget.
Douglas County Health Department, the county, because we're talking about, essentially, we still have to talk about policy. When we're talking about racism as a health disparity, you have to have the conversation about addressing policies that still help maintain racism. You have to have that conversation. And so a lot of these policies are upheld, and some of it is through even our budgets. We're talking about following the money, right? That's a part of it too. And when you have a community that can participate in that and understands what's happening in the trauma that we have, that's a place to have that conversation. It's a rabbit hole, but we have to, somebody has to do it.
And I feel like if people have been, you know, if this has come up to the point where the local government has declared this a health emergency, then of course our community already knew it was a health emergency. We've already been suffering from it and calling it out, and so there is some value in the fact that it's been called out in this official way, because that does open up some things federally in all kinds of ways in order to help. So again, the question is going to lie in what can we do, and also tie this into business. Like, what kind of businesses could people in our community start to help some of these things, especially if there's a plan that's been laid out, nobody's doing the plan. Maybe another entity should come in and do the plan, or at least go through the plan, see if there's some viable things there to take out and to contribute. So there's a lot of those. You know, to me, that's where my mind is going on this. But again, where do you start? Where do you start? If you say racism, is now a public. What's the phrase here? What are we saying now?
Health disparity.
It's the health disparity in our communities, which is really interesting when you think about it. Health disparity in our communities. So how do you stop? First of all, how do you stop racism? Because when I'm thinking about that, so the racism is the health disparity. So what can you do to?
A way to think about that in Omaha, the way I think about that in Omaha is racism. Basically, think about redlining, right? Racism shapes where and how people live. It shapes like what resources and opportunities you have. And to me, that a lot of that comes down to policy stuff. So that's one place to start. That's what I can offer, because I'm always going to come back to policy. It's always going to come back to policy to me. And to me, when this resolution was made, in my mind, I thought the best way to use it was to address policy. Because when we're addressing all those different things that are confining us to this, I think that's where you start. Well, actually, I think you're starting right here with the conversation.
Right. Brianna Full says implementation committee for it. So that's interesting. Yeah. Same thing. We're saying talk about this first, and have a committee surrounded around discussing these things and figuring them out first. I see, buddy. What'd you put up here? This is
this is the plan. This is the 22-point plan.
22-point plan.
As you see, the first ones are kind of what we just said, but this is us doing it. Like, what is the Douglas County Health Department going to do? That's my question.
And would you send that to me?
Yeah.
That link. Thank you.
And you mentioned that we had a guest on. Remember, it was a brother. I can't remember his name.
Yep.
We'll have to go
Yep.
back and check the guest out, check that episode out. But we had him on, and I remember not getting too many answers about what was going to be happening next.
Nope.
They put somebody in place, and he was talking about the program,
Step
but
one.
we didn't know. Brother Valentine says, I believe the county has a health
Yeah.
equity committee in place. Okay.
And Marissa Hatab runs it. Douglas County Health is separate. So there's two different people we're talking about. And I don't know who that other person is, but I would find out who that other person is and bring them on to ask them these questions.
Sounds good. We're gonna you're just joining us. We're with Kimara Snipes. Put some respect on her name. We're finding out what's good in the hood. Having some discussion about racism as a health disparity. Again, this is something that's ongoing thing that we've been talking about. There's a plan in place that we have on screen right now. If you're just joining us and seeing what's going on here, there's a plan in place, but we haven't heard much about what's going to happen with this plan. And we're back on this. Let's take some action to figure out what we can do about it in our community to be able to do that. There's some things that have opened up now that this has been declared. Probably money that you can get federally, probably programs that you can be a part of, and so on and so forth. And very interesting stuff. If you have anything in the comments about this, about what can be done, or if you've heard anything about this, let us know. We'll continue to talk about this particular thing because this is a huge thing for us, and we're also looking for solutions for those disparities. The health disparities that are there. We're dying at a rate that is different from other groups because of racism, and that's a huge, huge, huge thing for this state to be able to state.
Yeah, Jim and Johnson. That was the name.
Yeah. Would it be Jim and John? Yeah, that was brother's name, right? We had him on the show. We talked about the program, but didn't really, we didn't find out what the next steps were quite at that point. One more, Brianna Full says Andy Wessel at the DCHD is the person in charge of that initiative. They met with community leaders at the very beginning, but I've never received any follow up about what exactly they're doing. So she said,
I know who Andy is. I don't think that's the equity person though.
Okay. Yeah. So questions out there. Definitely, we'll continue to talk about this and come up with, we might have to invite these people back on and talk about what's going on here with these next steps, because it's been like that was kind of towards the beginning of the show. We had that one brother on, so I'm not Brother Johnson on, so we need to find out what's going on. It is 8:26 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we do have another special guest waiting in the wings. But before we get to her, Kimara, what's good in the hood? I know you wanted to talk. There was something that you wanted to bring up towards the end of your time here that was important. What's on your mind?
That can wait for another time. It was actually on the first Sky page. A gentleman had tagged Precious and I to an article, and I went and read it, and I was looking at it, and I made a comment on the page as well. And if he wants to discuss that, I am more than happy to. But as far as what's good, since you ain't got that much time left, because that article is going to take some time.
Okay.
I would say next week, I'm super excited, especially if they're all able to join us. But I plan on introducing you to the dream team we done built over here at the table. I cannot, y'all just don't know my level of excitement. Y'all just
okay. I feel it.
Bring them on.
So we have a retreat coming up next week for the Nebraska table, and we'll be at Mahoney State Park for a few days, doing some goal setting for next year and things like that. But my new team starts next week, and so I said, hey, y'all want to go on First Guy Wednesday morning? They were ready, so they already know who First Guy is. They have listened before and participated. You just say no, but I'm really excited, so I'm going to bring them on with me next week, and just very excited to start planning. I belong to a national coordinating committee for an organization called State Voices, and we are looking into municipal strategy and how to be supportive of some different cities across the nation when it comes to municipal strategy. Just hired a consultant, a strategist to help us with that. So really diving even more and more into just like local elections. And so I'm excited to do this work from a nonpartisan standpoint through my job. Everyone knows I'm also party affiliated. And so whatever I can do through my position on the state central committee with the party, I'm going to do. I've been very, very adamant though, about this upcoming mayor's race, and Precious, love you to pieces, but I'm going to be a bad Democrat when Mike McDonald run for mayor, because as long as I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, he won't make it through a primary.
Mm.
Ooh.
Mm.
So
Okay.
I'm just throwing that out there from whatever position I have to do it from. But we have to start being more vocal, and I'm definitely going to be doing that and putting my foot down, because I'm not going to be putting up with it with a city that I'm from and that I love and that I care about. This is serious business, and I mean serious business, and he don't want none of this smoke. So I'm putting it out there, letting the world know that we are not going to have Mike McDonald sitting in anybody's office, and I know Precious agree with me on the inside. So that's it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's bring Precious on and let her speak for herself on that. I hate to have her sitting in the wings while we talk about her. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Precious McKesson up with us this morning. Hey, 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 how you doing, sis?
Hey,
Good morning. Good morning to you. How you doing?
I'm good.
You
I'm
hanging
good.
in there? That's what's up.
I
Well, I
am.
appreciate you coming on this morning with us.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Kimra, you said that somebody tagged you and Precious in a post on Friends
Yeah,
with
I was looking for it too. I didn't see it. I was like going through my phone.
Yeah, what was the brother's name?
It's a here, I'll put it in the chat. I'll put the link in it. It's called Reverend Barber's Pastoral Letter to the Democratic Party.
Oh, I saw that.
And it's interesting, they brought up Nebraska in the article in regards to ballot initiatives. And I think it really speaks to the power of ballot initiatives when it comes to getting out the vote, specifically the Raise the Wage campaign. Like I said, I went into every single county and looked at the ballot initiatives, and it did make it. So ballot initiatives are a great way to get out the vote. And some of the states is talking about women's rights and how that got people out as well. But he did tag me, and I sent Precious a message the other day, because there's been some things said in the news and things like that, and I just wanted her to know, like, Precious is the executive director of the party, and she just got into this position. She's never been in this position during an election or anything like that, and I wanted her to know from me that I don't see anything that might be negative with the party as anything associated with her, because these issues have existed. As somebody who's been a part of the Nebraska Democratic Party since 2006, these issues have existed, and we can expect her to change this by herself. But our former U.S. Senator Bob Kerrey got on the news, and he said some things about the state party, and I just, I have my opinions about what he said, and I don't think that he was all the way wrong. But again, I don't blame Precious for that. I just think that we don't focus enough on grassroots organizing. And Precious and I have had these conversations, especially as people who are involved with neighborhood alliances. As somebody personally who has been a community organizer for about 30 years now, I see it. And when I look at this article, it talked about how, Black women are, the largest block of voters for the Democratic Party and things like that. And, it's hard to have the conversation about the party, because for me, I mean, I got my democratic values from my people. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get my democratic values from Nebraska. I got it from my mom and my daddy who came from Louisiana and South Carolina. And so I do take it kind of personal, and I try to be supportive. It's a loyalty thing for me as well, because if I'm a part of something, I want to change it from the inside. But I remember when I was chair of the Black Caucus myself for Nebraska, and I had conversations with every single Black elected official there was, and there is a lot of apathy that exists. There is a disconnect that has existed, but we have Precious in a seat of power within the party. But unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of elected officials. It may seem like in Omaha, but Omaha is also very segregated. So typically they come from North Omaha. I was kind of like a sore thumb sticking out being an elected official in South Omaha. But I think essentially the article, it talked a lot about policy stuff and what we've lost out in the House and the Senate, because now we have this lack of representation of Black women in different seats and Senate and Congress. But I think it warrants a conversation. I think that people want to beat up on the Democratic Party, and I feel like just because I care, like we have Precious and Mike Lee in this party who are working their butts off, what I'm saying? And so I just have this level of just slight discomfort, but I do have issues with just how things are kind of going. But I also can see change that can and hopefully will be happening. So I just wanted to say that and let Precious know that I support her completely in what she's doing. And I just
No,
how I
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had to cut you off. No, it's 8:34. If you believe in the concept of time, that is, we want to definitely give Precious her time. So, yeah, appreciate you checking that out, and I'm glad you put the article in the chat there. We'll definitely click on that and read that, and kind of see where that's coming from. And also, I wanted to say, who was the brother that posted that in Friends of First Guy? Do you remember?
his name is Michael Watts. I don't know, but
So he's been posting a lot, and I think, and I'd like to meet the brother. If you're listening now, let us know. We appreciate your contributions, but we usually know who's contributing. So definitely want to know who that is, and have a conversation, and we'll definitely do that. Brianna Full in the chat real quick says it's impossible for candidates of color to run and win outside of East Omaha. That's how a lot of people feel. But Precious, first of all, let me go ahead and say thank you very much, Miss Kimara Snipes, for coming on and spending your time on your day off this morning to come on the show.
Yes.
Really appreciate you very much. So, and we'll be talking soon. And let's talk. I can't wait to meet your team. Can't wait to meet the team next week. That's gonna be awesome. Appreciate that. I definitely want to give Precious her time on that. So, Precious, good morning to you as well, and thank you
Good
for
morning,
getting up
team.
early. I know that the lot's been going on this past couple of weeks, so we're happy to see you here. And Kimbra's out. Okay,
Oh,
and happy to see you here. And just want to say good morning, and what's on your mind this morning? What's your thoughts?
I mean, I got a lot going on, so I know a lot of personal stuff going on right now, but I'm trying to keep my head above water. What's sad is that through these tough times, you still have people who know that you're going through this tough time, and they're still attacking. But again, I'm a strong Black woman. I was raised a strong Black woman, and I'm going to continue to do the work that I'm doing, and just really, it's a lot that I could say, but I'm really trying to be very reserved right now, I should say, with my comments, because people take my comments some type of kiss the ring opportunity, or just it's really hard, y'all. I just tell y'all, it's hard being a Black woman in politics in Nebraska.
Yeah.
But pushing.
Yeah.
I hear you. In the chat, Pop says, our hearts are with you, Precious. Keep your head up. Stacey Jean said, condolences to you and your family, Precious. People are, we're happy to see you here. We're definitely happy to see you. We appreciate you coming on through. Sorry about such hard times happening. And it's unfortunate to hear that people still use opportunities to attack. One thing about you give them the smoke in a hot minute, and we know that about you. But you've also been very human, and very, even when like Gene Stother's husband died and stuff like that. You're very human when people have personal tragedies. That's off limits. That's not in the game.
I wish the same grace was given to me, but it's not, and that's something that, again, we're in, and I realize where we're at. I realize what stake, but for some reason that same grace is not given to Black women. That's not given. We take on so much, and I don't think people. Sometimes I wonder when people are sitting there typing their messages on Facebook, or sending their long thesis statements about what you're doing, or blaming you for something. I wonder if they sit back and like, hey, she's human too. She has a life too, especially at a time where she's going through something, and the grace is not given. And I'm a person where, and I tell people this, I'm a very straight shooter. I don't play around. I don't joke around. I tell you what's on my mind, because if I don't, then I'm being fake with you. Rather for me to be upfront and than for me to give you some cookie cutter bull crap to make you feel good. I'm not going to do that, because I wasn't raised that way. You either get out the mud or you sit in it, and that's just how I am. And so I think in this world, I've been through a lot since 2018 within this Nebraska Democratic Party, within this political party. And every time, for some reason, when I say something, it's more emphasis put on it as if it's anger, or she's wrong for saying this. But if a woman of a different descent that doesn't look like me says something, then it's all praises. So, at this point, I just say, obviously I just look at it as, I get up every morning and say, you know what, Precious, continue to do the work that you're doing. keep doing it, because obviously it's a threat to them who feel this way. And I tell people this all the time. I don't get hate from the Republicans also. I get hate from the people who own party. Okay?
Wow.
Let's keep it 100. But I keep a smile on my face. And cute. And I always say, keep it cute, sis. And I keep, even when it's time for elections, I keep it moving. There's times I don't be in the same room as certain people who have said things to me or said things out of disrespect, but I keep it moving. I keep it cute. You know?
Yeah.
So
And now, right. When you say that, I think to myself about your tell me what your position is in the Democratic Party again. What's your title?
I'm the executive director.
So it's interesting, first of all, because I don't know if it's my age or what, but I'm at a point in my life right now where I have a whole lot of women friends that are executive directors in places and leading places, and watching the disrespect that's coming to them as leaders. I'm about to hold a whole dinner for all my sisters that are EDs and CEOs in the city, and it's pretty extensive. And I want to do it because I want to do it as a celebration, because I'm watching all these people get disrespected left and right for being in positions of power. I want to ask you here's Big Brother protective going on. Who did it? Who messing with you? You know, and I want to know, and I know you ain't gonna tell us,
Yeah.
but
No.
I will say no. You don't do that, but I will say, how can we support you? Like
Yeah.
what can we do?
We're
I
here.
mean, I am when I say this, like I don't look at my position as a position of power. I look at my position of opportunity and to open the door for other people that look like me. And being able to be that person of even like saying right is wrong is wrong, and being able to deter certain things that happen, and be able just to bring awareness, so I don't look at it as a place of power. I've never been a person like that. I do demand my respect. Now I do demand my respect, and that's something I will always do. I don't care if it's from a candidate to an elected official to someone interested in there. It's a level of respect that you give to anybody, and I give that same respect. Respect. If you give me respect, I give you respect. You give me disrespect, I'm gonna give you shade. That's just 100 times. I'm just like, not gonna mess with you. We'll deal with you on a professional level, but keep it moving.
That's why you
We
fit
just have
here so well. That's our show's whole motto.
what you can do is, we just got to continue to express how important the power of voting is. And I'll use District 2 as an example. Preston has sent me some numbers, and basically during the general, only 20, and when I say District 2, I'm talking about City District 2, not District 2 as CD2, as city, so North Omaha votes. Only 29% of people, this is from, he gathered 29% of people, of the registered voters, showed up to vote at the polls for this, in this one district. That's very disheartening, because we had great candidates running. I think we have to do better at making sure that number one, we are, which I feel we did a little bit more. We can still add on to it, but really get the word out, and the trying to find my words right now. The candidates of color that are running, amplifying them more, really getting them out there. But not only that, we have to make sure that the people who are already elected into office are also doing their part also, and making sure that I know they're already elected, and they're running, the offices that they're in, but we need them to step up and be out here encouraging people to vote, because we can't have it where you just only campaign when it's your time to run or when you're up for re-election. You should be campaigning year round and making sure that people stay engaged. And this is something that I've talked about with the party. I've talked about this, especially in North Omaha. We've had offices in North Omaha, and excuse me, and because to this day, I think we would still be in the OSBN building if that building was still up. but because of buildings being sold and not enough and not no type of quality space, I would say, like want people to come in and sit in that office space, like that is I'm just not gonna put an office in North Omaha just to say we have an office in North Omaha. It has to have it has to be an office that is welcoming. It has to be an office that has the amenities to my community. I'm not just putting up anything just to say we got an office. I'm not going to do that to my community. My community deserves the best, and it's hard to find those type of amenities in North Omaha. So it's like we're going back to the drawing board of what happened, and I'm going to continue to advocate for our communities of color. We have an office in South Omaha. We need one in here. We have to do this. We have to do this because there's no reason why we should only have 29% of people in a community that is majority of communities showing up to vote. We have to figure it out. We have to.
I got a couple points. One question, 1 point. Question number one is we have 29% of the people that were registered to vote come out. What's the percentage of people that were registered in North Omaha?
My thoughts exactly.
I don't have that full number, but I need to look at. Preston does a full briefing on it, and once he sends that out, I normally, with him doing Black Votes Matter, he normally does a full deep dive. We have not gotten all the numbers all certified from the Election Commission, but once we get that out, I mean, someone may have some rough numbers, but I don't have it specifically district.
Okay, so yeah, I'll be looking for that. The other thing I want to just mention real quick too is when I think about your role, the reason why I asked you what your title was in the Democratic Party is because what I feel like is happening again, not trying to put you on the spot or anything like that. You can always shut me down if I'm asking the wrong question. I can't help but think about there's certain Democrats in the Democratic Party that look like Republicans to me. And could pull a Don Klein any minute of switching parties. So I know that because of in your position, you are promoting all Democrats, but we don't necessarily, people mistake this show as a Democratic show. We're not affiliated with the Democratic Party in that way. We're independents that are looking at everybody and trying to judge everybody for what's going on. And there's people in your party that feel like there ain't no way. How do you reconcile? I guess I do have a question here. How do you reconcile how you have to promote?
Well, number one, we have a platform, and it's on our website. It's the Democrat platform, and all Democrats that are should be following that platform. Now we know there's going to be some Democrats that don't, that have certain values that they believe in. It's simple having those conversations, but we would expect that when we're looking at that platform, that Democrats are falling in line with that platform. I mean, that's what platform is there for. Some run according to things on the platform, some don't. But it's really hard to have those conversations. But I mean, again, when you have those conversations, there have to be open conversations, respectful conversations. But stand to your keep your foot down, on certain things. And I think every time I turn around, someone always throws up the Don Klein thing and like, oh, well, she did this, and I'm like, all I did was read a resolution. I didn't write the resolution. I read the resolution. As the Black Caucus chair, I read the resolution because the resolution was presented by Jakeen, who was not a part of the State Central Committee. So when the resolution was read, I was as a Black Caucus chair to read the resolution. And people need to realize, like, go read that resolution and read how that resolution was mentioned Don Klein's name specifically. It said anybody who's a candidate, elected official, or anybody perpetrating white supremacy. It didn't specify him, but it was based off of the actions that did happen in the James Scurlock. Right. It wasn't just made him. It was clear across the board. But I always continue to say, I didn't write the resolution. I read the resolution.
And you said Jakeen wrote that resolution?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Jakeen wrote the resolution.
And is he an official member or hold any official capacity with the Democratic Party?
No, but anybody can write a resolution, and if the resolution is accepted, anybody who's a registered Democrat or registered can write a resolution to the Democratic Party, and if that it goes through a process. It goes to the resolutions. The resolutions committee then approves it if it needs to go to the state central committee, which is the entire body of the Democratic Party, and they represent their legislative districts, and then it's voted on amongst all of those people. And there's 49, there was 49 districts, and there's 2 people per district, a male and a female delegate. So those people are the state central committee, the body of the party. Sometimes I don't want to dumb it down. It's kind of like it's the student council of the party, you know.
No.
Governing body.
Dumb it down for me. That's it. Dumb it down for me. I want to understand completely.
So so basically you have the chair. So it's kind of like student council. That's how I'm not saying it's student council. I'm just giving y'all the frame of student council. So you have
structure.
The structure. You have the president, you have the chair, the vice chair, the vice chair, secretary, treasurer, and all them, and then you have the committees, the state central committee, which is of 2 delegates, a male and a female, from that legislative district. So for legislative district 13, I am the female delegate, and then you have a male for legislative 13, the male delegate. Then you have 2 alternates, a male and female or non-binary alternate on the committee. So if your delegate can't come, then you call your alternate to stand in for you. Well, when you go to the state central committee, the state central committee then makes a vote after it comes out of the resolutions committee. So you have a couple of people from the legislative districts in as state commission. They then read the resolution. If they feel the resolution needs to be tweaked, if they feel like it's not let's say something that the party should act upon, they don't have to vote it out of that committee. Once they voted out the committee, it goes to the state central committee. During our quarterly meeting, we would then present any resolutions that were made, and resolutions come up, and then they turn around and they then turn around and they then vote on it. And so that's what happened, and was voted upon the party to recognize that resolution. And again, a resolution is bylaw. A resolution is basically just a statement that needs to be said, and that we hope that people follow by that. And so that's what happened.
Okay, so we're going to come back to this because you're going to draw me a map. I can see that. Kimara jumped in, says the state central committee, which Precious and I also sit on, governs the executive board. So he didn't throw in a whole nother thing. Now, executive board is the chair. It is the chair and her colleagues. So again, I'm just grasping on the local politics. These are some intricacies of local politics that I'm going to need some further explanation on. But I appreciate you laying that out. I kind of got a grasp a little bit on what's happening there and what happens, what we can do. So
we'll have a 101. We'll have a 101 style discussion one day. We'll just go through it of what it consists of, because we need more people. There's people that don't live in like LD 11, LD 13. There's people of color that live across this entire state and across this entire city that they could be a state central committee member if they wanted to be that. So definitely, I mean, that's how you grow the party within. When you start to get into positions and you attend committee meetings that hosted every 3 months. So our next one will be in December, but it'll be via phone. Then we'll have one in March in Lincoln, one in July in Scottsbluff. So we go to each congressional district to hold those meetings, and we all go to that city of choice that we plan out, a year in advance. But definitely, I mean, that's a way that we get people involved. Don't just say people get involved on the voting part, but get involved in the actual inside of the Democratic Party, know how it works, and being able to have your voice and have a seat. Because I mean, honestly, Kimara can say, I mean, how many of us is in a room? I think me, Kimara, Mike, Dulce, Pastor Bank, Joel. I mean, I'm just, I think like in the room, maybe 100, it might be maybe 10 of us.
And that's for the whole state.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what's missing. We need some one-on-one on all of the seats, all of the places that people can get involved. We talk a lot about the bigger seats, because
Mhm.
we don't know the intricacies of these other committees and so on and so forth. If I let myself glass over, then I'll just and then this committee and then that committee and then we're on this committee and then the two people on this committee and I'm just like, how many committees do we have in this city? You know what I'm saying? Like we need the
Woo.
one-on-one on it because you're right. Like you can't just vote or be governor. There's a bunch of stuff in between and a bunch of other ways to be involved that doesn't require you to do what Carol Blood and Senator Tony Vargas just did, which is just open up their whole lives to a campaign.
Man.
Other things that can be done. Before we get out of here, because we only got about 6 minutes left, wanted to jump into the chat real quick. Earlier, Kimmer was on YouTube saying, "Power is the ability to influence. It's not a bad thing. It gets used badly." This is back when you were explaining that your ED ship you don't look at as a position of power. So we have to understand our power and leverage it. I agree. I do. You are in a position of power. You take on the ED takes on mad responsibility for a lot of the inner workings and a lot of times we don't want to look at it as a position of power, but we need to more, I believe, because of the fact that we have so much is put on your shoulders as an executive director that you deserve to be the one that's calling the shots. Because if the things that fall apart on you a lot of
Well,
times in a lot of
and I'll
positions.
and I'll say this: I have a great chair, in Dane Club. We work hand in hand, so it's not that. I mean, I run all the day-to-day operations. I mean, everything that goes on through the party. Jane and I consult each other on it. I mean, sometimes it'll be emails. I'll be like, why am I on this email? You don't want to be in this conversation. And she's like, yeah, you got to be in this conversation.
Absolutely.
Something that I really appreciate, because there's other EDs in the state, in the nation who don't have the access to their chair like I have the access to my chair. Some of them be like, when we go to our meetings, they be like, what? Jane does that? Chair Club does that? I'm like, yeah, like she gets in there with us and they be like, talk to my chair every day. So I have to give a big shout out to her because I do talk to her every day. I talk to her literally. There's no days off as an executive director. This week we are all our staff is off for a much needed day. People don't understand. Our staff is union. We're union members. The Nebraska Democratic Party staff is unionized, and so we negotiated a week off, because we haven't had a full time off. So we took off the 18th through the 28th. But with me, I'm still working no matter what. I'm checking my emails because anything can happen. Plus, I know that I want my staff to be able to enjoy their time. There's times where I'm getting a press call calling Jane, hey, this is going on. We'll soon be going to a ASDC meeting with all the other executive directors, and we'll be able to really debrief on what is election cycle. And it's good to be around my brothers and sisters. Again, there's only about no more than 7 executive directors and chairs. I say executive directors. I'll just say executive directors. Black and brown through the United States. And so when we get together, we have that moment where we can be like, bro, sis, this is us. Like we're always together, about what's going on. And I'll tell you, we have Black executive directors in Maryland, Texas, Louisiana, Florida, Nebraska, I think Missouri. Yeah. Wow. Missouri.
Who's the Democratic chair in Florida?
His name is Marcus Dixon.
Oh, I heard that name.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Like,
And then Jamar is the chair of Texas. I mean, the executive director in Texas. So just know I'm in good company, y'all. And I get to sit down with my brothers and my sisters, and I get to sit and I get to pour into them just as they're pouring into me. And then we get to talk. And then also the red states, we get together as, because we talk about the money that's not getting us. So we get together. So it's a lot that's going on, So just know we're going to have a one-on-one session.
We will. We got about 2 minutes left. There's a question that Brother Omar Valentine put out there. I'm going to read it, but we'll have to answer that on the next session here. For those new to the game, can you share about the role and difference between roles in the Nebraska Democratic Party, roles such as chair and caucus leader? So he's saying the same thing we're saying. We'll do a one-on-one for sure on that. Also, I wanted to mention that Brianna Full was saying that we need to have more strategic meetings to coordinate in North Omaha. She was asking about that earlier as well. And also, she says we don't have to shy away from power. I think it's something that communities of color should strive for. It's the only way to make change, especially when power is used collectively. Uh, Very true. One things that I notice in business a lot of times, women are really speaking up for that. So I've been in situations where I've had to hire or assist in hiring, and women will come in and tell me, yeah, the title that you guys put out there on that isn't quite right. Uh, or I need this title changed because it matters, especially to women in leadership, what the
Mm.
title is. And I'm finding that to be a very interesting thing too. One more, Linda in Chicago says the org chart could take up an entire show, but it's really good info to share. So the general population isn't intimidated. It helps us all to better understand topics we don't discuss daily. I appreciate
Mm.
that very much. Very much agree. Very much agree with that. And like I said, we'll have to come back through and do that and put it together in chunks. We're also working on a lot of video content too, so we might even be able to put a one-on-one kind of video situation together to break some things down, like the old school schoolhouse rock. Maybe we can do some
Yes.
schoolhouse rap
There's a bill.
around here.
I'm just a bill.
Yeah, man, we'll do some schoolhouse rap. We'll put it down like it's supposed to be. We're gonna get out of here. It's 9 o'clock right now, so I'm sorry that we're gonna have to cut you short here. But I appreciate you coming on. Like I said, condolences to you and the family. Anything that you can have us do, let us know. Even if it's just a call, and just a talk, or go have a meal or do something. We know you got a lot on your shoulders and stuff going on, and just being an ED by itself is enough to just
Mhm.
send you all on vacation because EDs be needing it. So
Yeah.
appreciate you very much.
Yeah.
Pop says, love you, Precious. Thank you. Brianna Full says, thanks, Precious. Yeah.
Just continue and pray for families that are impacted by this awful violence. Again, we'll
Yeah.
push through. Just never be right at my doorstep. So,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
I appreciate y'all.
Man, love and light. Peace.
Bye,
Yeah.
y'all.
Yeah. Peace. Love you.
Love you too, y'all.
All right. Man, I'm glad
Mm.
that we got her on last minute. I really appreciate her getting up and coming on through.
Yeah. And it seems like her spirits lifted a little bit towards the end of our discussion. She kind of came on a little somber. So man, definitely send your prayers up for Precious and her fam. And like you said, everybody impacted by the violence that's going on, not just in our community, but just around the country, man, around the world, man. Need more love.
Gotta like Prince said, find yourself outside the club. Could have had a little more love. So don't get kicked out of here over not loving like you're supposed to.
Man.
Rose said, "Have a blessed holiday." I'll get kids says, "Happy Thanksgiving." I don't know if he means it, but we Turkey Day is Turkey Day, whatever it is.
Gobble, gobble.
Pop gobble gobble sucker. Pop Pops is reminding us about there might be a train strike coming up. You know what that means for us. We'll talk more about that on Friday as well. Definitely got to talk about that. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to have somebody on that was working for the railroads and get there with, like I said, everybody I know that works for the railroads is like, yeah, man, strike on, strikers, make it happen. So we'll see. We'll talk to somebody firsthand about some of the conditions. I'm gonna try to make that happen on Friday as well. So we'll see. And with that, we're gonna go ahead and let y'all get to it. We'll definitely talk about it. Alki Kid said no one wants me to do any schoolhouse raps. So yeah, you can't be on the schoolhouse rap album.
No. Yes, it will get weird. Yes, indeed.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Don't forget about the Fireside Trap with my man Ishmael Samuel. And what's the other cat's name?
A Daniel Fool or something like that.
Daniel Fool. Daniel Fool. Happy Thanksgiving. Safe thanks to everyone. Like I said, we don't really celebrate the Thanksgiving. Brother Rose Reviews calls it the thanks taking. I'm not down for celebrating the massacre of the indigenous, but I do support everybody getting together as family and having a meal and doing the thing. So if that's what you're doing, cool. Other than that, we're gonna let you go, get on out of here. Pop says beautiful show. Thanks, guys. Love to the fam. Buddy, you got some words for the peoples?
Yeah, man. Big shout out to the sisters coming through as always, making Wednesdays that much more special. Sister Kimara Snipes and Sister Precious McKesson. Put some respect on their names. Also, big shout out to everybody in the chat, man. As always, we appreciate you. The chat chimers, the ghost listeners, the 630 crew, first time listeners, last time listeners, everybody who embarked on this experience with us. We appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. Spread love, spread light in your areas. And also, happy birthday to Mama God.
Mama God in the house.
Yeah. Happy birthday, man. We're gonna spend some much needed family time over the next couple of days. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, y'all do the same. Until next time, Paul B.
Yeah,
Take it away.
Man, don't holler too loud. I know you got little kids running, a whole bunch of extra kids in the house sleeping. Don't be waking everybody up. You're gonna be in trouble. Really appreciate that. Marianne Williams says, "Have a safe and peaceful holiday." We celebrate it as the day. We celebrate it as the day to eat pie.
Okay.
That's what's up. Do like brother Rome's reviews. Do like Mayor Sanchez says. Buy store label stuff, man. And do like Pop says, stock up on it because we might have a train strike that's going to really help hurt the circulation of goods that's coming up, and it's probably an inevitable situation that's going to happen there. We'll talk more about it on Friday. Man, he fresh one says happy birthday to Mama God as well.
Hey.
Appreciate that. And shout out to Mama God who's out there chilling, man, seeing the grandbabies and all that good stuff. It's all about fam. I really appreciate that. Trying to get out to see some fam myself back on the West Coast here pretty soon. So we'll see when I can make that happen and slide on out.
Hey.
So it's that time of the year, and like I said, one more thing is that we're about to end the season. Probably only got 2 or 3 more weeks here left to go before the season is over, and then we take a break and come back in January for season 5. So we'll be looking at trying to get it all in before then. You can help us do that. These conversations is what is all about. So appreciate everybody that's there. Thanks to the Omaha Tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. And shout out to you, the chat chimers, for allowing us to speak with you and talk about the issues that are important to us today and where it is that we are at here in Omaha, Nebraska. And we really appreciate everybody that's on that tip. Also, shout out to all the reoccurring members too that have decided to become a reoccurring member at $10, $25, $50. We got a lot of reoccurring members that are growing as well and helping us to grow this channel. Shout out to everybody on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for the moment. We don't know if we're gonna stay there, but thanks for everybody that's joined us there. And shout out to all our partners as well. We got many new things happening and things coming on with the partners that'll be very interesting. That you'll love to hear about too. So with that, stay tuned. Like I said, much more conversation to come. Really appreciate everybody. Stay safe. Check your heaters and everything because it's about to get cold towards the end of the week.
Man.
And get prepared for that. For the Valentine says, stay safe, fam. Keep holding yourselves and each other accountable for sure. Josh Tate says, love the show. Thank you all so much. Man, can't do it without y'all. So appreciate you very, very much.
Thank you.
We'll see you on Friday.
Peace.
By the way, Vanguard. This is protected by the red, the black, and the green. At the crossroad, with the key.
By any